evening. I'd like to call the June 19th, 2014 regular meeting of the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to order at 7:04 p.m. In attendance, alternate member Holtgren, regular member Sienna, Leskovich, and I'm acting chair Galdenzi. First order of business on the agenda is public hearing. First public hearing, first of two public hearings. First is on PZ application 2013-14-2. It's a petition of Donald. It's P&C application 2013-14-12. It's a petition of Donald Capelli Jr., Totucket Land Holdings LLC, to amend the North Branford zoning map for residence R40 zone to business B1 at 224 Foxen Road, Assessor Map 22, Lot 1, and 190 Totucket Road, Assessor Map 22, Lot 3, owner Totucket Land Holdings LLC.
All right. First off, regarding notifications, I did check the notifications for abutters, and there actually is one property out of about 40 that didn't get the, wasn't mailed the certified notice.
1 out of 40?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
but basically, they weren't notified. But I did check with the town attorney, and basically said if the person wasn't notified, was attending the meeting, and I think the applicant tried to make contact with them. As far as I know, they're not here. So it really becomes a deficient notice. And I talked to the town attorney in terms of what to do basically at that point. He basically said that, I mean, his impression, would have to be re-notified for the next meeting. He he can't really open it because it's a deficient notice.
Couldn't open this.
You couldn't open it. You can't open it and continue it or table it, because that's what I asked him about, because it didn't technically meet the notification requirements. So we'd have to, what he said, and I don't know, Charlie, I'm gonna look to if he knew any history, if it ever happened before in terms of what the commission did. And is that what was done?
We advertise it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what town attorney said, that basically.
So we are not opening
Can't
this.
even open
This
it, we'll
is
just
not-
have to reschedule it for.
Was it advertised though?
It was advertised, it was properly
Okay.
advertised, but there's a requirement to notify butters.
So it's enough people that were notified, 39 out of 40.
Yeah, but if you miss one, then that's
How do you miss
sufficient
one?
notice. Pardon me?
How do you miss one person?
Well, the applicant was given the list of abutters,
So-
and they didn't mail it to that one person.
I think for argument's sakes, this is a town attorney, Kirk checked with the town attorney.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, we're not going against the town attorney's advice, so.
Was the notification mailed to them?
No,
Oh, okay.
that's the
Yes,
thing,
okay. The fact
the
that it
applicant
wasn't
didn't
mailed.
mail it to that,
Yeah.
to one
So
of the people.
how they find out it was not mailed to them?
Because I went over the list in terms of what we had from receipts.
Collecting and check.
Right, and, yeah, because we get the receipts, return receipts, then I went over with the applicant and we double checked it, and that's when we found it, so. The applicant is required to make the notifications, the town doesn't do it, the applicant does.
Oh, so he,
Yeah, they
Yeah,
missed
this is a
one.
burden against the applicant now. He has to go re-notify everything,
Right.
so it's not
Yeah, I
like
mean,
they're trying to, you know.
And that's why I
do
checked the
something
town
funny.
attorney, because
They have to now
but it's,
go and take the expenditures to do all this all over again. So.
yeah, I mean, we'll republish it in the newspaper, we'll do that, but he will have to re-notify. And I did talk to the applicant regarding that, and he did try to reach out to the property owner, and if they were here at the meeting, then it would ensure that notification
So
had been
we
received.
sure they're not here? We don't, well, I don't know. They're not here.
The person, yeah, the property owner of 15 Merritt Drive in the audience. Okay.
Have you spoke with them? Somebody spoke with them?
I haven't spoke, I think the applicant tried to reach out to them to see if they would come. It wasn't on the town to reach out to them. And so it'll require re-notification. That's,
I think if it was something we could discuss and come to consensus, we would. I mean, the town attorney, as far as I'm concerned, the town attorney's giving us guidance.
it
I'm not
requires a
sure.
re-notification. So the public hearing won't get opened. It will be at the next meeting. So, I mean, this item will have to be rescheduled or to the public hearing to the next meeting.
Anyone have any, I don't, it seems pretty crystal clear to me.
That's what he said.
It's very unfortunate, but I'm not sure we really can do much. So, okay, we'll have to, it has to be rescheduled, so it wasn't open, we'll reschedule it to,
How
now we're
long,
in July, we have one meeting in July,
The July 10th meeting.
July 10th.
so you have to remail all notifications of all the people?
The applicant will have to.
Certified. yeah.
Right.
Are you
That's again,
there, are you
that's a
here
burden on the
for,
applicant.
are you here for Donald Capio? Oh,
That's
you
it.
are Donald. Right.
He is the applicant.
Oh, you're the applicant?
Yes.
There was some confusion because I started this process with Carol Zeff, and she was putting the list together for me, and then in the middle of what we were doing, Carol left abruptly. Kurt tried to pick up the slack and point us in the right direction, and there wound up to be two master lists, which had a lot of crossover, and
Yeah.
one was
Understood.
missed.
Okay.
And is that property within 500 feet? Is that?
Yes, yeah. It's within the radius, and that's why they're required to get notice, and it just got, I mean, the applicant missed that one notification. So under the
Were
requirements.
you able to reach him at all?
I left a phone message and hand-delivered a notice to their door, but no one was home, so we left it there. So we were kind of hoping they would show up at the meeting tonight, but it's way down on Merritt Drive, and I don't think they have any interest, to be honest with you.
For the 500 feet though.
Yeah, as the map draws out, it was just within the 500 feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a technicality, that's what it is. It's
So-
unfortunate, but that's
Yeah.
what it is.
We'll be able to make the July 10th meeting, is there enough time to get stuff out and back?
I mean, if the people don't make it, that's their choice. It's, as long as the notice goes out, and
Even though it's publicly,
even though it's published, our requirements say anybody within 500 feet. So,
Okay, here's, we'll reschedule it for July 10th.
okay.
You have a quorum on 10th?
On the what, the minutes?
No, a quorum on. the-
Yeah.
Oh, reschedule.
On 10th.
Yeah, we do.
Who's gonna be here in July?
Anybody not going to be here, or any?
I should be here. Ron?
No, we'll be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fran? Yeah. Sounds like we'll be here.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so next order of business is PC application 2013-14-13. Petition of North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the North Branford zoning regulations from X to U under B1 of the permitted uses chart of section 23.1, Schedule A, line A2. Multiple dwellings consisting of 2 or more dwelling units, apartments, and by adding B1 to section 42.5.1. Multiple dwellings in B1, B2, B3, and MBP districts that is listed under section 42.4.5. Special standards that will allow multiple dwelling units, each unit having 1 bedroom, in the upper floor area of a commercial building located in a business B1 zone as a special use permit.
And there is a legal notice.
We can open this.
Sylvester, there's a legal notice that has to be read.
Okay. We usually just have.
I think it should be under your agenda for everybody.
Okay.
There should be a legal notice I put there.
Someone want to read that in?
Legal notice, North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. Notice is hereby given to North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. Will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. on Thursday, June 19th at North Branford Town Hall Council Chambers, 909 Foxton Road, North Branford, Connecticut, to consider the following. P&Z application 2013/14-20, petition of Donald Capello, Jr., Totucket Land Holdings LLC, to amend the North Branford zoning map from residence R40 zone to business.
Oh, that's the other one.
Yeah, no,
Well, you can skip that one.
Okay.
It's really going to this one.
we're going to skip it because of technical reasons. The other legal notice was to P&Z application 2013-14-13, petition North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the North Branford zoning regulation from X to U under B1 of the permitted uses chart of section 23.1, Schedule A, line A2, multiple dwelling consisting of 2 or more dwelling units, apartments, and by adding B1 to section 42.5.1, multiple dwellings in the B1, B2, and B3 and MPB districts that is listed under section 42.4.5, special standards that will allow multiple dwellings, each unit having 1 bedroom in the upper floor area of a commercial building located in B1 zone as a special use permit. At this hearing, all interested parties may appear and be heard, and written communication will be received. Copies of the proposal are on file for public inspection at the Town Hall Planning Department. William Gazenza, Acting Chairman, 6/5/2014, North Branford, Connecticut.
Hey, I'm going to open up this public hearing at 7:17. In attendance is, learn these new names, so bear with me, is alternate member Holgren, regular member Sienna, Gunn, Leskovich, and I'm acting chair Galdenzi. So if you don't know, the public hearing will have the applicant.
Well, the town's the applicant in this case.
Okay.
This is an application,
Yeah, okay.
there's an application of the commission. And I can just do a
Okay.
brief overview of what
Yeah.
you have and what I passed
So
out.
we'll present the application and then we'll open it up for the public for comments. Kurt.
Okay, basically, the proposal is to amend from a prohibited to a special use requirement under B1 of the permitted uses chart, section 23.1, Schedule A, line A2, to allow multiple dwellings of 2 or more dwelling units or apartments, basically in the B1 zone. And it allows for the multiple dwelling units in the upper floor, having 1 bedroom in the upper floor area of a commercial building located in the B1 zone with a special use permit. The other line is amended by adding B1 to section 42.5.1, multiple dwellings. Now the proposal is allowed in the B1 zone, as well as it's currently allowed in B2, B3, and MBP districts that are listed under section 42.4.5 special standards. In the packet is basically a copy of the section A of the permitted uses with the proposed change shown on it. On line A2, going from an X to a U, which requires a special use permit. And the copy of section 42.4.5.1, adding in B1, that allows that use in the B1 zone. And there's also a copy of the market analysis for the old town hall site, where they looked at what this type of use provides to commercial properties. So that's the packet. This was discussed previously by the commission, and it is the commission's petition to amend the zoning regulations as such. I've also provided a copy from this was referred to the South Central Connecticut Regional Planning Commission. And a return letter dated June 13th from the Regional Planning Commission, basically saying, addressed to me saying, thanking the commission for sharing the proposed zoning regulation amendments, that the Regional Planning Commission reviewed the proposal at its meeting on Thursday, June 12th, 2014. And by resolution, the Regional Planning Commission has determined that the proposed zoning regulation amendments do not appear to cause any negative intermunicipal impacts to the towns in the south central region, nor do there appear to be any impacts to the habitat or ecosystem of the Long Island Sound. And signed by Kevin D'Adamo, Chairman, Regional Planning Commission. And that's pretty much it.
Bottom line, multiple units in B2 and B3 were permitted.
That's correct.
B1 wasn't, we're changing it to allow that to occur in a B1. So,
And that's something that the, when we had the commission came in to do that study for our area, it's one of the things they're recommending.
yep.
So the existing regulation allows for 2 and 3 bedrooms, but not single bedroom?
No, the single bedroom units, but they allow them in different zones. See it, everybody else sort of has, I think that, I have the, here's the zoning map. Would everybody like a copy? I've got extras, and if you already,
I
if you have them,
I have.
but basically, so it allows it in the, this change would allow it in the B1 zone where it's currently prohibited. And it's allowed in the other zones, the B2, as listed there. It's currently allowed in the B2, B3, and MBP districts. MBP district is more of a floating zone, but it is allowed in B2 and B3 districts. So it opens it up a little bit.
Takes the burden off some of your good tax-paying business people who have a second floor that isn't available for business, it isn't conducive for business, and it helps them pay their taxes, and it also brings more personal property tax into the town rather than vacant areas. And it is something that the Economic Development Committee had recommended.
And it's just, I think it's part of that Yale design, right? They
Right,
did
it's
that
part of the
idea.
Yale design that we paid
Nice
for.
fit for that.
It also produces affordable housing, being as it's a single-bedroom
Right.
apartment.
Right.
So you want to make a,
Well, we'll just, any discussion here, then we'll open it up to the public.
Single bedroom only apply to a single person or a couple, or a single person and a child?
Well, it's a single bedroom.
Single
I mean,
bedroom.
the zoning regulations really cover the bedroom,
Bedroom, yeah.
not you know, how many occupy it. That's sort of out of their purview.
There's no zoning regulations, how many people can live in a single bedroom apartment?
Not in the regulations, no.
Maybe health department, maybe, I'm not even sure of that. I mean, might be health department though, more than zoning. I don't know that for sure. Speculate. Any discussion, or we can come back to it, obviously. I just want- Okay, so what, we're gonna open it up to the public. If you do have a comment, question, just please kind of raise your hand, we'll call you up. Come, if you can sit down and go to the microphone, state your name, address, and then make your comment or statement.
Donald Fusey, 22 Beach Street. I'd just like to speak in behalf of Mr. Palumbo. I think that in the tough economic times that we have right now, I think that what he's looking to do, it's impossible to rent second floor space for retail and office. People just don't want to be there. So other towns are doing it, and I think even in some of our studies with economic development, we looked at, you know, that was the lesser of the evils, a one bedroom, because it's going to be either, you know, most likely somebody who's single or a couple, you're not gonna have kids that go into the school system. So I just would like to weigh in on it and say that I think it's a good idea and I think it should be allowed. But that's really all I have to say.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Anyone else?
Do you want us to come up, on the property owner?
Well, this we're just talking about modifying our regulations.
The regulation change would allow
It's not-
anybody to apply
At this point, it's
under,
not
once
specifics.
approved.
Yeah, we're not talking specifics, it's Anyone else from the public? Okay. Should we close the public portion and?
Yeah, you can close the public.
Yeah, I think, well, if anyone else, last chance? Okay, we're gonna close the public portion of the public hearing, 7:25. Any other discussion here?
No?
You have a draft?
But, and the answer is no, because pretty much these, I mean, you're basically, if you motion to approve it, I mean, basically, and you have to just state the reasons why. You basically just read off here, approve the proposed application, such and such, and state your reasons in favor of it. The one other thing is in terms of a effective date. And I was trying to think somewhere around, just so we get the notices in either, because it's usually about a month out. That's what Carol has done, because we have to get a notice in and get everything published in the paper. So, I'd say, look at the calendar, I think if you have an effective date around either the 17th or the 18th of July, that puts us, we'll be able to get the notice in time to do that.
Is there a meeting? Because I see, in here's a meeting on the 10th of July,
Yeah,
not till the 7th of August.
right, but, what's gonna happen, the deadline for that 10th meeting, those regulations won't be in effect by the
Right.
time you have to submit something. So, if we get it in by the 17th, then someone can get it in, we can get a public hearing scheduled, if someone were to submit under it for the following meeting in August.
Well, if you approve it, that should be,
But you have to list an effective date.
right,
What is on
so
tape.
it's just a matter of approving it as of July 17th.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the
Effective
next
date,
meeting.
July 17th.
Can someone just take a couple of I'm taking bullet items on why we vote favorably for it. Just so we can capture what we need to say, make a motion, and then effective date. What should we have for an effective date?
17th
Well, I'm
of
gonna say the
July.
17th, then I can get the notice in
July.
and.
It has
yeah.
nothing to do with the new meeting at all.
Right.
But just so when we see
Right.
this motion, we have the facts in our hands. So let's just discuss real quick, so we have this in our heads. So, if it certainly fits in with the design, right? Yale Design.
The Yale
Study,
Design had.
economic development.
Right, had advocated it, and it's a benefit to the business people that own these businesses with their second floor being open and unable to rent to another business or office, and
I think it's consistent with other towns, right? I think
it's consistent with other towns.
towns have similar things. Some of the things,
Additional utilization of existing properties in the town. Does it attain the tax structure on the property? They have to get rezoned?
I don't know what it does for the assessor may look at it a little different, and that may be an impact in terms of how the taxes are levied. That I'm not sure of.
Does
They're
each-
not really billing, a lot of times, a new unit. Some,
Yeah.
the second story's there, they're fitting it out different perhaps.
Does each property owner have to apply for the change, or is it automatically?
Oh, each property owner will have to come in with an application
Okay.
yeah.
to the commission.
So why don't we make a motion and then just kind of, if you're in favor, or just state maybe a reason that we've mentioned.
I move to approve changes to the zoning regulations as proposed in application 2013/14-13.
Second.
Effective date?
Effective July 17th, 14.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
okay, well, we'll go kind of a roll call, so Commissioner,
Dave.
Commissioner, alternate member Holcomb? State your yay, nay, and
Yes,
reason.
I'm in favor of the motion to change the P&Z application 2013/1413.
Okay. Commissioner Sienna?
Yes, I think it's good economic development sense for North Branford.
So yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I vote yes. I think it's good for the town in promoting affordable housing as well as utilization of property that is having trouble finding tenants.
Thank you.
I agree with the other commissioners, plus it does help, not so much the taxes, property taxes, but anybody comes in will have personal property, which would be taxable.
Thank you. I vote yes as well. It's consistent with the Yale Design Study Group, consistent with other towns, and also aligns with the Economic Development Commission. So the motion carries 5-0. Okay, thank you. Okay. We're all the way to new business. Any new business? None.
Yeah. Nope, nothing
Okay.
I'm aware of.
It's okay, you don't need to have any business.
No, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I know.
go any further on it.
Other business, approval of minutes. So, minutes from May 15th. Charlie, Fran, and I were here. You guys-
The only issue was that when Mrs. Clow was here, she didn't vote yes. In the minutes, it says that she did and she didn't.
For what?
No, there was a quorum, so the alternate doesn't get a vote.
Yeah,
Just like now. Or,
Four, yeah.
Not only the alternate, whoever wasn't here.
but there were 4 already. There were 4 regular members.
other than that, I approve the meeting, the minutes.
Charlie?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved from May 15th. Okay, next item is zoning regulations update, and it's regarding the propane storage regulations.
Well,
If you look,
can
yeah,
we talk about that since it's not, we're not gonna open it since,
well,
It's,
it was discussion on the May 15th, it was in the minutes that, you know, there was discussion occurring on it as possible amendments, and that it would be rediscussed at the June 19th meeting. So I just put it on there as a follow-up to that, and then what I did, I think,
these are the minutes, right?
yeah, I think I have 4B on there.
I know we asked for some items.
Right, and I'm gonna pass
Got a
out.
package of some things. We asked for this.
Here's that. Basically, he asked the attorney to provide some things, and I think that was emailed to the existing members from Carol Zebb on the 22nd of May, and then there's something, I made a copy of it, I found the file for an email that she followed up on May 23rd regarding that item. So I just put it on there for any discussion, the commission may want to continue to have.
well, I think we all looked into this, well, I think most of us looked into it pretty well. And the biggest the biggest thing that was, seemed to be a problem was the fire codes. And from my understanding, the fire marshal has approved it. Am I right?
I don't know. I wasn't privy to that part of the,
So currently, we don't have an application.
We don't- there's no-
We're looking at just changing the
Right.
zoning regulations.
regulations to
design.
allow for and set
Yeah, the
some
only,
criteria. But I didn't see anything here from
from the fire marshal.
the fire marshal. I mean, I looked at what Carol had, and I tried to bring forward,
But they would be involved in the actual application.
yeah, well, the application, they usually get involved in terms of the specifics.
Hold on just a second.
Sure.
The fire marshal wanted me to text him or call him when we got to this part of the meeting, because he wants to come down and weigh in on it, if there's any questions for him. The fire chief, I'm sorry, I misspoke, because the fire marshal, I guess, is out.
Yeah, the fire marshal is
Come down,
out sick.
if we're gonna talk about that. He didn't want to sit through the whole meeting, he didn't know how much was on there. So I think he can come down now. If there's anybody who has any questions for him.
I don't even know if we're at that point. I mean, certainly an application would be.
Well, and the question, I mean, I think, and again, I'm trying to pick up the pieces and understand exactly where it's going. Would it be an application, would an applicant submit? Would it be an applicant, someone else's application, or is it the intent to be a commission application? Like the one we just did was, the commission did that one.
Well, I think the applicant had applied for it originally, right?
It's not that, what I can see, there's no application.
There's no
I think
application.
there was discussion, is everything I've seen on it, and back and forth between the commission.
Then it would be up to us to decide whether we're going to allow
Well,
that in our
I think
zoning
what Kurt's saying,
regulation.
We had a similar situation, that overlay zone where the applicant made.
because the applicant can make the
Made it
request,
request.
or the commission can make the request for the zoning text amendment change.
Well, I know that we got a letter here from the lawyer suggesting what.
My understanding,
we would
that's
do.
for discussion, for review,
Right.
because as a follow-up to the May 15th meeting, the commission asked the applicant, or
Right.
the person talking about it with the commission to provide some information what different towns were doing, and then some proposed
And we
text.
got all that.
And that's what's been submitted.
Mm.
Then the question that I see, does the commission want to move forward with the application as a commission application, or a application of a prospective applicant, I guess?
Well, I think we should move as far as the commission should make the presentation of whether we're going to, make a zoning change to allow.
Because what will have to happen, once, again, whether the applicant submits it, or the commission votes to do it like they did the last time, just for this recent one, for the allowing the residents in the B1 zone, there's a public hearing requirement, all this, there's a public hearing requirement, and then we have to schedule the meeting accordingly.
Can I just to bring you, because you're involved now, do you guys know what this is about? Do you want a quick synopsis?
It's a
of
bulk
what
storage
this is?
tank on Cyril Road of what type of?
We have zoning regulations currently that prohibit this
Prohibit.
bulk storage of petroleum products, gasoline, things like that, which include propane. What they're trying to do is amend the zoning regulations to allow this to occur in an I2 zone, and specifically listing propane, but then with some specific criteria that obviously are targeting Cyril Road.
So what is the red
Because the
zone
language
from?
will actually mention Cyril Road at Route 8.
Originally, the applicant
So it's
was,
very specific change to
the
allow.
applicant was brought in by the mayor, who heard that they were looking for some land and suggested them that they look at Zero Road.
Right.
And then the applicant came in and discussed it, and we had a lot of questions, and most of the questions revolved around security, and was our fire department capable of handling an emergency? And though rare, I mean, if you look it all up,
And setbacks to
yeah.
adjacent properties and
Right.
residential zones, because it's propane.
If you read about it, which I think a lot of us have done, the fire department is really the key to say that they can handle the situation, and if they give that kind of assurance, then we have no reason other than security, lighting, and the setbacks not to.
This is
Obviously, fire-
right near the mobile station, right? Looking at this map, right?
No.
This is setback, is this the C?
Well, Foxen Road is in red. Why is-
It's down that road, Sierra Road down there.
I see
It's
this,
down
I
there a
see
little
the
bit.
Foxen
right?
Road.
Is that
So
lot
the
C?
area highlighted in red, is it allowed in those areas highlighted in red in the map?
Give me, 1
Right
second.
there.
No,
Colorblind, so
okay.
I'm out of that discussion.
The way it reads and the way I read it, it's,
That's
in the
done.
I2 zone, which is sort of this purplish color, that's
Mm-hmm.
east of Sierra Road, so east of Sierra Road and south of Route 80. So it's, and that doesn't abut, I think, a residential,
Right.
let's see. And bounded on all sides at the time of the application by similarly zoned properties.
Right.
So you couldn't be these properties that abut the residential zone property. It has to be one in from there. I mean, there's, it can only abut in the I2 zone and be east of Sierra Road. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 lots that seem to comply
Mhm.
with it.
Okay.
Because it can't be against a R40 zone or a commercial zone or anything else, according to the way it's written.
So is it regular propane or liquid propane, do we know?
It's 30,000 gallon liquid propane, two 30,000 liquid propane. So it's 48, what's the diameter, 11 feet by 48 feet?
Correct.
11 feet tall by 48, a tank,
Oh, right, a big old storage tank type of thing.
so it's propane,
Yeah.
liquid propane. So it obviously, there's fire protection standard requirements beyond the fire department that has to adhere to.
Yeah, that's part of it, I think, is are there some accepted standards for fencing, and we've got these ones from everybody, all the towns.
If you look
There's a
up,
lot of things on it, yeah.
Okay.
yeah, if you look up the other towns, one town has asked for a regular fencing with the circular wire on the top, so
Yeah,
you can't
circular
climb
wire.
over it. I don't know what you call it.
Or
The other thing, what was asked for is security lighting. And I know that they talked about lighting, but I think, in my estimation, that kind of lighting, which was motion detector, I thought, wasn't acceptable. It would have to be lighting that would be on at all times to deter anybody from getting in there. And I know they're safe. If you look up, and I did a lot of reading about it, most of I think the accident that anybody's ever had was almost negligible. But, as I say, the biggest thing is the fire department has to be the one that would say they're capable of taking care of that kind of emergency.
Mhm.
And if they are, then I see no reason why, we can't allow it in that area.
So I think just to clarify, I think there's good controls in place to limit the hazard, but there is
There is,
a
yes.
significant hazard, risk, it's a
Yeah. hazard,
hazard, but it's well controlled.
Yeah, I
So the
mean,
risk is
the
controlled.
way it was explained
but
was
the
that
hazard is-
there's so many shut-off
Liquefied
valves
propane.
on those tanks, and as I say, I did read up about it, and it's really negligible. But, you do have to, in my mind, take into consideration that it's,
So-
anything's possible today.
Okay.
So, that's it.
So I would just, let me just throw an idea out there. So we're starting to get into the kind of minutia would be part of a public hearing and approval of an application. I think maybe, aren't we? Sort
Oh,
of?
yeah, but just
Yeah,
guidance
good
in
discussion.
drafting a regulation.
Yeah.
I don't see any, because you're gonna have to hold a public hearing.
Right,
You're gonna change the regs, so
right.
this isn't doing any harm to that.
No, right. I didn't know how far we go
Yeah.
down discussing
I mean, one of the towns went to an extreme and had everything listed. I think it might have been Clinton.
I know we asked for, one thing I had a question on. I know we asked for, I saw something, but we asked for kind of a summary of the NFPA. And I
Yeah,
know we did kind of get a summary of something, but
Clinton had the most
wasn't
restrictive
really what I was thinking.
parts, the requirements in there.
Would be- what do you got?
Yeah, that's what it said. You're right. That's my other packet.
They did pass it, but they do, as I say, have.
Lighting plan.
And some of them actually don't even have to do with propane. Some of them have to do with, I guess, fuel and gasoline, but they've just included everything. I think we have all the regulations in store for oil and gas storage tanks. I don't know if we do or not. I think we do. So ours would be just probably for the propane.
I think maybe the fire chief has arrived, huh? Let's give him an opportunity.
Yeah, good idea,
chat.
Charlie. Bill, if you don't, Chief Seward, if you don't mind, so I don't know if you know the proposed zoning changes we're looking at?
I'm sorry?
Are you aware of the situation and the zoning reg changes we're looking at?
I'm aware by way of multiple parties that there's a potential for a liquefied petroleum gas fuel depot possibly coming to town.
Right, so
Um,
230,000 gallon tanks.
That's it?
Yeah.
Only 30,000?
Yeah, so the discussion came up was, you know, we had concern for our fire department
Mhm.
capability, volunteer, so on and so forth.
Sure.
So if you want to address that.
I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. I've been the fire chief here since 2005. I have an associate's degree in occupational safety, bachelor's degree in fire science administration from the University of New Haven. I'm a graduate of the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland. And I'm retired from the City of New Haven Fire Department after 30 years where I served as the commanding officer of the training academy. While I was in New Haven, I was also the coordinator for a part of the region's hazmat team. Presently, I coordinate the regional hazmat team that responds to emergencies in what we call the Department of Emergency Management Homeland Security Region 2, which occupies 30 communities. Our regional hazmat team is composed of core divisions, northeast, southwest, and the valley. North Branford is a component of that hazmat team and provides equipment and resources. With that said, I mention that particularly because in the valley, Suburban Propane occupies a propane filling facility right next door to the police department, adjacent to Route 8, in the heart of Derby. Now, Derby is a volunteer fire department. It is a very close-knit community. It's a very dense community. It only occupies 5 square miles. I do exercises for the State Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security on a regular basis. And in fact, one of the exercises was for Suburban Propane. And it simulated a leak in one of their 30,000 gallon propane tanks in which we actually what we call flared off a propane cylinder in the center of Derby, downtown, on a Saturday morning. And I hear you talking about NFPA standards. NFPA 58, which is a standard for liquefied petroleum gas products, and basically you're talking about hydrocarbons. In this day and age, it is a very common fuel that's used not only on your tanks for your gas grills, but as an alternative heating source. We also have propane-fueled vehicles traveling the roadway. You have propane tanks, trucks, traversing this community every single day. You see a red placard on the back on all four sides. It's ID'd as UN number 1075. That's propane. So what's important about propane? It's a heavier than air product. It's a hydrocarbon. It has an odorant added to it because without that you would never detect its smell. You detect the odor at a very low threshold limit value in parts per million, way lower than any danger zone. There's so many safeguards that are built into propane facilities and tanks today that didn't exist years ago. As a matter of fact, you'll find in NFPA 58 what they call a fire safety analysis. And a fire safety analysis is often used where your threshold limit of on-site storage quantity exceeds a certain limit. And it runs you through the gamut of evaluating the safety aspect with regards to fire, leaks, encroachment on that facility with due regard to safety of the occupants, the users, and in this case, it would basically be the community in and around where a facility like this may be erected. The safeguards include not only having water capability for suppression of vapors if a leak were to be detected, but there's a gamut of emergency shutoff valves in line at the tank and in many other locations that improves the level of safety that you find in the propane industry compared to 1970 and before. In addition to that, Connecticut General Statutes, Section 29331-1 is an added measure of compliance in Connecticut with regards to propane safety, and I would strongly encourage you to look at that. I will place an emphasis here. The local fire marshal has all the jurisdiction and authority to sign off on the facility. It is the local fire marshal, and that comes through the Connecticut State Fire Code under the auspices of the Connecticut State Fire Marshal's Office. Being involved in many projects in the community, you'll know that some of the fire safety areas of the intermediate and high school were not to the standard, so the Board of Education went back to the Connecticut State Fire Marshal and asked for a modification. And typically that's where the state fire marshals get involved with the locals, and that if a modification is required, they provide that modification. So I'll reemphasize, it is the local fire marshal, in our case, Burt Bunnell, and the Deputy Fire Marshal, John O'Brien, who is the authority having jurisdiction over this site and its ultimate approval in this town. Again, I have to emphasize the fact that Suburban Propane operates.
Excuse me.
Suburban Propane operates at least 3 to 4 other facilities throughout Connecticut, including Greenwich, South Windsor, and Waterbury. These are in typical residential neighborhoods where you'll find the product. As with most liquefied petroleum products, again, I have somewhat of a chemistry background in hazardous materials, so what I'm telling you, it may be very foreign, but for our safety, fire safety knowledge, it's really important. And that is liquefied petroleum products or products that are stored in vessels under pressure when they are released to the outside atmosphere. Because of how they're configured, there is an expansion ratio. So the expansion ratio of propane is about 270 to 1. So what does that mean? Well, okay, so I have a 20-pound propane cylinder right here. You have to excuse me.
As long as you don't start singing along.
Please.
Yeah, right. If I have a 20-pound propane cylinder here and it fully escapes and becomes vaporized out of its container, that vapor would be the same as having 270 20-pound propane cylinders. You may say to yourself, heck, that's a lot. Well, think of other products that have similar expansion ratios. And this is like a last-minute thing for me. I had to get somebody to watch my granddaughter to run up here, so I kind of just jotted down some quick notes. At the Northford Ice Pavilion, they use ammonia for the refrigerant. So if ammonia were to come out of its vessel, ammonia it's not only flammable, but it's pretty toxic, but its expansion ratio is 800 to 1. 800 to 1. Transversing our town is the Algonquin gas line. You don't know it's there, but hydrocarbons transverse through that all the time. We have a sewage treatment plant, right around the corner here, right down the street from my house, in which years ago chlorine was the agent used in the water purification process. And because of the hazards of chlorine, one of the ways you can address safety is engineer another substance in its place. So sodium hypochlorite is used in the process, but there are other agents that make the sodium hypochlorite that are delivered on a routine basis down the street that are very, very hazardous and toxic if they come out of their container, leak, spill, vaporize, etc. So if you look at the effects of hazardous materials in any community, there's many substances out there. Some are toxic, some are flammable, some are both. So when it comes to propane, today propane is a safe alternative fuel means. The storage vessels that are contained and built according to code, housed according to code, are very secure because of the code. From my perspective, and looking at it from a risk analysis standpoint, with a water supply being present, I don't see that as a significant fire hazard. You have pool storage places throughout the community that have tons of chlorine. Products get out of those containers. They present a higher risk than what you're facing today. And again, working with the propane industry in the past and exercises, there's ways in which events can be safely dealt with in a relatively mundane fashion by trained responders. So if you have any questions, this is a technical subject, and I would be more than glad to address the committee and, with a prepared presentation, do an overview on propane safety from the fire department's aspect.
I think you've really set our mind at ease, knowing that you are so knowledgeable and that our fire department would be prepared.
Mm-hmm. And again, we're part of the regional hazmat team where we have other resources. In the event that propane were to escape from a cylinder, and it could be a 20-pound propane cylinder in your backyard, if it was uncontrolled, we have a way to activate our regional hazmat team, and the closest core division is Guilford. So Guilford Fire Department could respond. They have a propane flaring kit in which hoses and valves are hooked up to basically a big torch. It's lit, and the propane's burned off. And it depends upon the quantity that dictates how long that flame would be blasting out of that big torch before the situation is mitigated. But while that's happening, there's no hazard.
My main question is, there's right within a quarter mile, probably even less than that, there's 3 areas that fill propane tanks. There's the storage facility, there's Agway, Country Paint and Hardware. Those tanks, are they liquefied or pressure?
Yep, they're all the same thing.
Those are 1,000
Oh,
gallons.
1,000 pounds.
These are 30,000.
So the local firemen are trained in handling liquid propane fires.
They're trained in the inspection process of the propane tanks, making sure that they're inspected according and installed and maintained according to code. And the firefighters are trained on an annual basis in accordance with OSHA regulations to handle those type of events.
Okay.
Yes.
So the water supply in Sierra Road?
What I would ask the regional water authority to do a flow test for me.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
And
of that.
depending upon from where the last hydrant is to where the proposed facility is, I could see myself requesting that the water line be extended.
Can I just interject for 1 second? There's a fire hydrant directly in front of the property.
I just meant pressure-wise as well,
Pressure?
not just,
Yeah.
yeah,
test.
gallons per
Yeah,
minute
I
and all
would-
that. I mean, you have to, not
I
just.
want to know what the gallon
Yeah.
per minute flow is.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yep.
And again, you bring up a good point, because wherever 1,000-gallon propane cylinder is in our town, even in Northford, because there's actually a 1,000-gallon propane cylinder in between all the wood frame structured buildings on Mansfield Drive. And there is in fact water supply up there, but it's a 1,000-pound propane cylinder next to combustible buildings. There's no problem. It's been there for years.
Can you just, the Connecticut General Statutes, you rattled that number off pretty good, so I didn't catch it.
Which one?
The, I don't know, the one you, I think it's in relation to, obviously, propane storage. You said there's a Connecticut General Statute,
Sure.
23-1.3.644.
NFPA 58 is the guidance.
Yeah, I have
document for
58.
propane storage.
Yep, I have that.
And you also reference Connecticut General Statute, section 29,
29.
331-1.
Okay, that's fine. Good.
And again, I'm sorry that this is like spur of the moment, but
What was the Connecticut number again?
29-331-1.
Oh,
And in that, it also references NFPA 58. And again, in Connecticut, the state fire code adopts the NFPA standards.
How many, I just kind of a side issue, in Derby, how many 30,000 gallon gallons? Near the
at
Home
least-
Depot there? Near the Home Depot?
Yeah, it's right down the street from Home Depot on the right-hand side.
Yep.
And if my memory serves me right, I was up there like 3 years ago doing an exercise, and
Sorry, I just,
anywhere between 3 and 5.
3 to 5.
And they're all 30,000 gallon cylinders. And again, the small bobtail trucks go there in the morning, fill up, and go down the street. And again, I gotta tell you this, as I said before, the bobtails that transverse the community, in my mind, they're more of a risk than a fixed storage facility, because they could become involved in an automobile accident at any time, and an exterior valve, even though there's safeties on them, become a problem for us.
You know if the local UPS trucks, do they, gas too?
If they do, they're marked with a black card.
Okay. I know they
Some are,
change.
some are natural gas fired and some are propane, yeah.
Fire Chief, we appreciate you coming down like this and enlightening us.
Sorry for my attire.
That's okay.
just before that, Frank, anyone else have any questions for Chief Seward?
no.
Again, you can get a hold of me through the town manager's office.
Yeah.
Fire marshal will be more than glad to sit down and do any further
That might be helpful too.
information sharing.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What's his last name?
Seward.
Seward.
S-E-W-A-R-D.
He bought Alaska. He bought Alaska, right?
Yeah. Any discussion?
No, we really can't do much else because of the technicality of not having the public hearing. We can't really.
Not even advertising. I think the chief's comments make me feel a little more warm and fuzzy about it. And it sounds like using this NFPA 58, and I assume that's what the fire marshal does. We would not need the regulations like some of the ones in this collection here.
You could just reference that. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
one of the references said that Clinton adopted
Yeah, they
all
went-
this, but
right.
it's here, so.
Yeah, they went to.
Double-sided.
To every little thing, but I think it just,
You know, in fact, I like the fact that it's in the industrial zone, far away from residential.
well, it's not, I mean, it's far enough away.
It'll meet the minimum setbacks, but it's not far away.
What you don't know from the Clinton code though is what on 10.5.1.2 is what is section 4 related to in section 1050. It says there should be no storage of any liquids or hazardous materials except approved under section 1050, so you don't know what they're, doesn't tell you what that 1050 is.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's, the only reason I even mentioned it is because they listed everything. I don't know if we have to make their standards and requirements that rigid. But we certainly have to take a look at it.
Okay, so,
All right, I'm just trying to, where do you want to go with it?
Well, I don't know
I
if
mean,
you can go
there's
there.
a proposal, I mean, there's a text amendment that's proposed. If you want to go with that.
I make a motion to propose and move forward with the modification of the
Well,
budget.
okay, and what I did do, based upon.
sorry,
Not to
just,
put the regulation.
yeah, sorry about that. Just hold on just a second.
Hold on one second. Put something together. And what you did the last time, I mean, you made a motion, and I'm gonna pass these out. You did the other one, and I just used the same format that Carol put together. What was making a motion to move forward for a public hearing, the proposed text amendments.
Yeah.
Basically, that's just a copy of what's here. You need to state the reasons. In terms of a date, it's gotta go to regional planning, it's gotta get referred to regional planning commission. So, and the regional planning commission's next meeting is July 10th, the same as this commission's. So it would have to be, in order to be effective, it would be, you would want to schedule a public hearing for the meeting after, when they meet, so that you would have input back from them.
Did this thing go to them already?
No, this has only been discussion before this commission. If you gotta set it for a public hearing, which
So-
hasn't occurred yet. So
So just so we're clear, today's motion and our decision is to have it set for public hearing and refer to the.
and the date,
Right?
right,
Right, so we're
but
not.
the date would be
we're not
August 7th.
approving-
And then, as part of the process, I've got to make sure it gets referred to the Regional Planning Commission, so they can review it, and they send back something, just like what they did tonight on the other application to this commission. That's a requirement that it be sent to them, but it gets it moving forward. So really, the date to have it is August 7th, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
But the last statement on this draft says, other than.
Yeah, that was my question also.
Say
Is
that
that
again,
grammatically-
David?
Is that grammatically what
Yeah.
our intent is?
The bulk storage of cement and petroleum products other than propane, public utilities, companies, electrical power plants, generating facilities, and gas
That's
storage.
grammatically incorrect.
So it's not saying, it should
Well,
say,
What
other
it was
should be
is,
taken out.
in the zoning regulations, that's section 23.2.6, they just, They
said
left it
pro-
outside.
It said it prohibits
Okay, so we're
bulk
amending
storage
that.
of cement, petroleum
So
products.
that's what
blah,
we're
blah, blah.
amending, okay.
yeah, so they
saying-
exclude, it's not a prohibited
That is-
use.
That is not what it's saying. What it's saying is bulk storage of cement and petroleum products other than propane, public utility company electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage. That other than takes control of the sentence because it's one sentence, and it's saying that, in fact, you're allowing the propane and everything beyond that. Sister Regina Agnes would be very proud of me right now.
Other than propane, right there,
Right.
right?
What you're trying to do is isolate propane, but this sentence is not isolating the propane. It's
Saying it's already
Well,
approved.
it's saying it.
You can argue it's petroleum products, propane is a petroleum product.
Right,
But
but
the-
it's,
So
he's
it's
saying
petroleum
saying
products
other
other than
than.
propane.
right, but it's
Comma,
it's saying,
comma.
No.
yes,
Then it-
yeah. Read this again. Bulk storage of cement and petroleum products other than petroleum, comma public. So that
Other than
other
petroleum,
than
propane.
is carrying the rest
Isolating
of the
propane.
sentence.
It's taking propane out of it.
And the rest of the sentence. It's also taking out the gas storage, the public utility company electric power plants, and the generating facilities.
Well, I think what it's trying to say, bulk storage of cement and petroleum products other than propane I mean, you gotta read that as one thing, so it's.
But the
well,
sentence continues is what I'm saying.
But it's
it's-
separated by a comma.
And it's listing, I can refer it,
What I'm thinking is, boy, lawyers would love this.
well, we can
But
refer it to the town
this is-
attorney
wait a
for,
minute,
I mean, this is a proposal, you can amend the way you adopt it.
Right, we'll just take that, bulk storage of cement,
Wait a minute,
comma, bulk.
but this is the way it's written now, and this is what we're trying to change.
Right, but we're changing it wrong.
The thing that they're,
We're
We're
not,
think
adding,
she's saying
we're
this is
adding
how it's
other
written
than
now.
propane.
This is the current statute.
So,
right, so
Ron,
this is what you're gonna amend, this is the.
so let's just separate it like Ron suggested. So bulk storage of cement, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities and gas storage, and petroleum products other than.
So is propane, if this is the current statute,
Right,
is propane covered in a different statute?
no.
no.
This is the statute right now that we want to amend.
Okay.
It-
So
It-
if
It currently says bulk storage of cement and petroleum products, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage. That's listed under a prohibited use.
Right,
And the intent is to say that those things are, petroleum products other than propane are prohibited. That's the intent.
Just separate it out and
Okay, so.
then
this-
it's absolutely
Well,
clear. I mean.
But just by what he
absolutely.
just said,
You read
though, other than propane is prohibited. So by what you just said, you're saying propane is already acceptable?
No,
No, this is proposed text.
Okay,
This is
all right.
Current text doesn't say other than
Okay, so
propane.
this is proposing that we accept propane and nothing else?
That's
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 what
the
we're trying
intent.
to say.
Okay,
So Ron's saying that it in fact may not say that. So we just separate them, make it crystal clear.
And wait a
It's not
minute, just separating it how? I just want to make sure.
We could put it at the end or
Yes.
just put it
Just-
at the end.
just
Bulk
check
storage
that.
of cement, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities, gas storage, and petroleum products other than propane.
or just say propane only, leave everything else out.
wait a minute, you're then letting everything else in except the propane,
No,
the way.
No, they're listed as prohibited
This is
uses.
prohibited uses.
So I think it should be focused just on propane itself. Don't even bring in the cement, power plants.
Well, this is a regulation. We want to prohibit these things. We have to have that other
Okay.
language.
The other ones are
We're
intended
just,
to be
what
prohibited.
we're trying to do is massage it to allow propane.
Okay,
So we can't exclude the other ones because we want to restrict the other ones.
right.
So we just put it at the end and we're done. I don't think we
Well,
need
sorry,
to.
Matt.
Yes, that's
It
correct.
makes it
Put it on the
crystal
end.
clear. Good observation there, Ron.
I still don't get it, because even if you put it at the end, if you say bulk storage, you're gonna change this.
So it'll say
It-
section 23.2.6 prohibits
gonna
the
say-
following. You remember, you have to read that first.
Right.
Prohibits the following. Then read.
Okay, so you're gonna take
Prohibits-
propane out. You're not
No,
gonna
no,
put
we're
it at
gonna,
the end.
no, we're gonna take petroleum products other than propane and put it at the end, so nothing follows it, so it's clear that it prohibits petroleum products other than propane. So propane is allowed.
Correct. Because the way it's written right now, it's allowing propane.
Unless you read it another way, then it doesn't.
Right.
So,
It's gonna
but I-
read bulk storage of cement, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities, gas storage, and
And petroleum
petroleum products other than propane.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
All right.
clear.
Does anybody have concern about this, the area? It seems almost site-specific. And if we could put broader language in there, rather than just east of Cyril Road and off Route 80.
You could
Yeah,
set the
it's
zoning
almost the
regulations
spot.
around it, how much clearance it needs, specify amount of clearance.
So we discussed it last time, it's like the good and bad of specific language.
Yeah,
It's bad because it's not in other areas, but it could be good because it's not in other areas.
yeah.
Because there are other I-2 zones that may apply, and if we didn't want to open
Yeah,
it up
that's
for
why the
everywhere.
street names in there.
Yeah. But without it, it opens up more I-2 potentially, right?
Yeah, I suppose, unless you,
And we
Put a
kind of looked
minimum
at the
sign.
map last time and said, maybe that's not such a bad thing.
Well, if you looked at, if you said south of Route 80, well, then you open up potentially along Commerce Drive, and, you know, there's other areas where you have the, that I2 zone. And then you go to Norfolk.
Yeah.
See, as soon as you say after Route 80, that's good. But then it says east of Cyril Road, that takes out most of Route 80.
Well, that eliminates the Commerce Drive area,
Yeah.
Route 139 area.
The object was they wanted to limit it, they thought it would be better to limit it to that area rather than
Well,
leave it
maybe
open.
it's a good idea. It just strikes me as it's very
Yeah.
site-specific.
It is.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah, we
comment
talked
maybe
about
you even
that.
made
Yeah,
last
I
time.
probably-
And I agreed, then we kind of talked it through and we said, maybe that's not such a bad thing. I don't want to convince you either way, I'm just saying, I know that's what we
Well, then
concluded
a question,
last
like,
time.
right next door to this plant, you've got, what's the construction company there?
Cherry Hill?
Cherry Hill. They put a building in there and added a second story on it. Could they put residential units in it next door to this? Or does it be too close?
It's
Well,
it's
I mean,
it's I zone though.
It's
We-
industrial zone.
We had it for B, remember B1?
Right.
B1, 2, and 3.
But the B1 is just up the road from it, right? Right on Route 80, right? Is that B1?
Well, there's R8, there's Rs next to this too, but there's setbacks. Because we have to have the interior, right?
Right, it has to be an
It has to be
interior lot.
interior to, the I2 has to border,
Well,
Okay,
right?
interior from a different zone.
Yeah, from different side.
so that would be put in there.
All we're going to do right now is set the regulation.
And, I
All we want to
mean,
do
Do
is
the
set,
amendment.
set it for a public
set
hearing.
it for a public
And then-
hearing.
And then,
Right, but
Then you
we
hear.
have to decide on exactly what we're amending and then set it, and then we can work on the regulation.
We are working on the regulation.
Well, I mean, you know, we can have it in writing.
Moving forward, right?
So maybe let's just take a quick moment. We'll start with number 1, right? Amend section 23.1, Schedule A, permitted uses as set forth on the attached proposed Schedule A by adding the following language requiring administrative approval of site development plan. Okay, so C-23, bulk storage of propane on parcels of land south of Route 80, east of Cyril Road, and bounded on all sides at the time of application by similarly zoned properties. Any comments to that?
Can't think of anything better.
Yeah. 2, an amendment to modify the text of, okay, section 23.6 to read as follows. So it's bulk storage of cement, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities, gas storage, and petroleum products other than propane.
Sounds good.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
Any comments? Questions? We have a motion?
I move to have the commission recommend the following proposed zoning regulation amendment and set it for public hearing on August
7th.
2014.
Second?
Second.
Ron seconds.
I have to read, so we get this right in there.
What's that? Reasons?
No, don't we have to read this whole thing?
No, because it's not a change, this is just a trial balloon,
I
if you
think
will.
Kurt made that change to put the.
Yeah, I mean,
petroleum products
we
other
did.
than
motion
propane.
as listed, you know,
right.
because it's listed below. I mean, really, then it was reasons, that's what was
Yeah.
before.
So maybe David, we'll start maybe just,
I approve the recommendation to change the proposed zoning regulation.
reasons? Any particular reason?
In favor of bringing additional business to the town.
You really don't need
It's
a
a
reason.
public hearing.
Okay.
We're just going to hold a
Yeah,
public
okay.
hearing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did we
Sounds
second-
fair
did
enough to
somebody
me.
second this?
Yeah, Ron
Yeah.
did.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So motion carries to set a public hearing date. And also the regional.
Yeah, I'll make that referral.
Todd?
You're gonna email this, email that to me, or? you want me to just take it and type it
I can, I'll give it to you, and I'll try to remember to,
in? Okay.
if you want, but just in case I.
Nope, we're gonna
I'll
cover
remind
this
you.
fast.
Yes, yeah, if you do that, then we're good.
So any other upcoming applications, Kurt, under receipt and scheduling?
Bill, before we go on, I think it might be worthwhile to notify the fire chief and the fire marshal ahead of time about the public hearing, because I'm sure there are going to be questions at it, and they're the guys that can talk about safety.
I'll send, please, I'll make a referral
Yeah,
to
okay.
everybody that.
And somehow let them know we'd like them to be here.
Yeah, yeah. So this one definitely concerns them.
He offered to make a
Yeah, I-
presentation. I don't know if we take him up on that.
Yeah,
Will the proposed company be here also for the presentation that wants to put the storage facility there?
Well,
They-
anybody
they're
can
the-
speak
Yeah.
for the public. I mean, it's a commission's application at this point.
I think some of the gentlemen are here if you have any questions.
So any other business though coming in for the 10th? Or upcoming meetings?
Not that I'm aware
So
of.
everyone's here is on the 10th. How about the 7th? Anyone know a vacation?
Not
7th?
me.
21st?
Should be good.
21st too, yeah. Okay, municipal referrals? Kurt?
None?
Okay. Town planners report?
You
I
don't
think
have
that's
one?
duplicating everything. Development update. North Branford Center Yale Design Study Group. Anything to report on that?
No, I just put it in there in case the commission wanted to discuss it for any
You
reason.
want any
Yeah,
comments?
there wasn't, I mean, they were very good on their presentation, and it seems like majority is advocating to put in businesses with apartments on the upper floors, having open areas, and haven't really, they weren't really specific about how the whole thing was gonna be planned out, but
There's another shred in September.
yeah, they have another one in September coming up.
You know if the building where Golden Shears is at the end there and the seafood place, that's got apartments on the second floor, right?
Seafood Supreme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they fully occupied?
Or some offices at one time.
No, there's a lot of
They're all
vacancies
gone.
there. Ever since it got built, they're,
I know one of the businesses planned on moving down the street and putting their own building up, but that fell through, right? The next lot going towards Bobby's, it's for sale again now. And she had a chiropractic business there, she was gonna put her own building up.
well, that was approved a long time ago,
Yeah.
but nothing
it
happened.
came through, right?
All right, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. I think that's it.
Move we adjourn.
I second.
You always second the ones who adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.